Yo, what up? This is Mikey from Coal Chamber, and you are listening to BackstageAxxess.com.
This is Chris with BackstageAxxess.com, and we have the man behind the kit for none other than Coal Chamber here with us today, Mikey Cox. Well, thank you, Mikey, for taking the time to talk with us today here at BackstageAxxess.com. We do appreciate it. There's all kinds of exciting things going on right now for Coal Chamber with the first new album in 13 years, Rivals, due to be released very soon. But before we talk about the record, let's go back for just a bit and talk about how the band got to this point. You know, you had a history here, that tumultuous night in Texas back in 2002, the subsequent official breakup of the band. So how did you get to the point where you are now back together as a cohesive unit?
Well, you know, dating back to that amazing night in Texas, you know, we were having, you know, issues from day one. We never really saw eye to eye, and we probably should have broke up after the first record. But you know, the records were doing so well that they just kept throwing us on tour, and you know, we weren't forced to be out there, but you know, we were out there because we love to be out there. But you know, we never were on the same page. So the night in Texas was something that eventually just happened. We probably broke up, you know, 20, 30 times before that. It just wasn't public.
Sure.
So that being said, you know, we didn't talk for, I think it was at least like 5 years. We didn't talk after that breakup. We literally flew home from that show and never talked again. So I quit the whole music industry. I stopped playing music. You know, it wasn't fun for me anymore. You know, I started delving into the unfortunate rock and roll lifestyle and living, you know, the partying and the craziness, which I think we all were doing at the time. And you know, so after 5 years or so, I think Meeks reached out to Dez, and they just started talking and opening the doors for communication, and we never talked about getting back together ever.
Okay.
And Meeks ended up playing with Devil Driver on stage, and they did Loco, and that kind of, you know, opened the door even more. And then me and Dez started talking and actually just becoming friends, because we were never really tight before. And like I said, we never talked about Coal Chamber getting back together. We never said, hey, let's do a new record. And you know, like 10 years passed, and you know, then we started getting offers for tours, and you know, having us come back as the 10-year reunion thing, and we still said no. And then once we did Australia, we got the offer for Australia. We never went, so we decided to do it. And you know, we were all really tight friends by then. There was no drama. You know, all the hatchets were buried. We did Australia, and it went so well that it has now snowballed into us making a record. So, you know, we've done multiple tours since then, and we just got back from South America right now, and everything's just going really good. You know, I wish it would have been like this from day one, but, you know, bands have to go through their growing pains, I believe.
Sure, just like any relationship, ups and downs. Now,
yes.
Let's talk about
a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, let's talk about Rivals. Obviously, it's been a long time coming because there was so many years in between the records. How did the idea for new music come about for a new record?
Well, me and Meeks, we've been best friends since I think the second day I was in the band.
Okay.
So me and him, we always work on music together, even when we broke up. You know, me and him work on projects together. And we just out of the blue, me and him wrote a couple Coal Chamber songs just to see what it would sound like, you know. And this was like 2009 or something. And then we showed it to Nadia, who, you know, we talked to sporadically. And we did one song, and then we totally put it away. And you know, it was really good. And you know, then once this record came about, when we were in Australia, we played that one song for Dez, and he was totally blown away by it. And that's how the talk started happening for the record. And then once we got the record deal, and this was a for sure thing, we literally were writing a song a day for a month and a half straight. And you know, me and Meeks usually start with the ideas, and then Nadia comes in. Then we send it to Dez, and Dez would send vocals through his iPhone whispering. it kind of just snowballed, and we ended up making a record.
Okay. Now, how did the recording process work for Rivals? And it's, it had been so long since you were all together in the studio.
Well, we all flew to Florida in the middle of nowhere to track the record.
Okay.
We did pre-production. We did pre-production in LA for a month and a half with everybody, and everyone was just on the same page. So all the records we did before, for the most part, we would all go in individually without anyone else there and do our parts, because there was always so much drama, and nobody wanted to be around each other. So this was the first record where we were all actually completely involved with each other's parts and the whole process. And I think that makes for, I think this record blows our other records out of the water.
Cool.
So it definitely helps when you can get along cohesively as a band.
Absolutely. Now, you do have some tracks on the new record that seem to touch on kind of what's happened with the band. Bad Blood Between Us, The Bridges You Burn. Are those making statements kind of about what happened, or is that just coincidence?
Nope. This is the first record where Dez hasn't wrote a song about anyone else in Coal Chamber. So it's monumental for us, because on the last record, we all knew who each song was about, and we can pick the time and place when that song was an inspiration. And with Dez being the vocalist, he can actually verbalize his words against us, So this is our claim to fame on this one. This is the first record where the song's sort of about anyone in the band. So it's all personal stuff. A lot of it's personal stuff. A lot of it is universal messages, like Rivals, for instance. We kind of take it as beating a rival in your own head. You could be your worst enemy, and with our time off, we were all so stubborn, and we never opened the line of communication, and we had to overcome ourselves to actually get the band back together. And so a lot of the songs are universal, and you can take from it what you want.
Okay. Now, the new record, it's just rocking from start to finish. It's just amazing.
Thank you.
My favorite track, I personally, my favorite was Fade Away, Karma Never Forgets. But how do you think Rivals compares to the past Coal Chamber records, and particularly the last one, maybe Dark Days?
Like I said, I personally think this one kills the other records. It's a lot more mature. It's dirtier. It's nastier.
Yes.
It's heavier. It's way heavier in my opinion, and it's darker. Dark Days. One of my favorite records that we've done. We were in such a bad place that you can obviously hear it through the music.
Sure.
And the title of the record was so fitting for the times. But this record, we've all matured musically, and me and Meeks really sat down musically, and I wanted to make sure everything was like super tight, and each note is doing something that I'm doing, and everything accented each other. And then when Dez came in, he just put the icing on the cake and really knocked it out of the park on this one.
Sure. Now, you have a new lyric video out for Suffer in Silence, a new track on the new album, and it does have a guest appearance by Al Jorgensen of Ministry. What was it like working with Uncle Al?
It was fucking unreal. When I was, growing up, middle school, high school, Ministry is one of my favorite bands. Still is to this day. And, it just kind of fell into place because Dez, has known him for a little while. And we weren't going to have any guest appearances. We never planned on it. Just like when we did Shock the Monkey was never planned out. It just kind of happened. And we had that song, and there was some spaces in it where Dez wasn't singing on it, and we're trying to figure out, what to do there. And then Dez all of a sudden said, "Hey, why don't I get Al Jorgensen?" And I was like, "What?" So we ended up, he ended up, going to Dez's house because Dez has a vocal studio at his house, and we all went to see the process. And I went in with, I just had his son, so I went in with my baby, and Al Jorgensen holding my son, blessing him, and And then 10 minutes later, Al Jorgensen's eating dog food, and you know, it was an extreme, surreal honor to have him on the record. He's a really sweet guy and a legend, you know, in his own right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you just wrapped up a tour here in the States, and I think you're going to be heading to the UK soon. How has it been going so far out on tour?
It's been insane. The States, you know, they wanted us to wait for the record to come out to tour, and we're so, you know, musicians are very antsy, and I think every musician has ADD. So we just jumped out and you know, kind of went balls out to the tour, and the crowd response was insane. You know, the turnout was insane. People already singing some of the new songs, and you know, that was great. Then we went to South America for 3 shows, which were crazy. We did Brazil with Ozzy, and it's just been insane. You know, for people to come out after taking 12 years off and still supporting as hard as they do, it's completely unreal to me. So yeah, we leave for the UK on Monday, which are going to be some crazy headlining shows. We haven't been there in quite some time headlining. The London show's already sold out. It sold out, you know, weeks ago, the London one. So it's just a surreal experience to have these people still stick around for us.
Absolutely. Any plans to head back to the States maybe later in the year and hit some other places?
The end of July, we're back in the States.
Okay.
We're touching a lot of the cities we missed on the first leg. Because, you know, every tour you can't hit every city in the United States. It's not possible. So we're kind of making up some cities. And, you know, there's a lot of fans that are like, why just get my city? You know, like we sit and choose each place we go to. You know, this kid said, "Well, I just get my city," and I was like, "I hate your mayor." Like, you know, there's no reason why they throw darts at a map and we go. Is pretty much what happens.
Okay.
So yeah, we're doing the States end of July to the end of August.
Okay. Well, that's great. I know Des has been busy in the off time, you know, with Devil Driver over the years. What is coming up next for Coal Chamber? Do you see this band continuing to move forward into the future?
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. You know, we love Devil Driver. We love everyone in Devil Driver. They're all friends of ours. You know, there's no weirdness about it. You know, me and Meek have another project that we work on as well. That's not as established as Devil Driver, obviously, but we all just like to make music. So you know, there's no drama with the thing. You know, if Coal Chamber was just going to do one record, I don't think any of us would have got back into the band because it's a very emotional thing for us.
Sure.
So there's definitely to be more stuff involved, and we got a ton of tours we're working on. So we plan to, you know, tour the shit out of this record. You know, it all depends on how your sales are in the first week and all that stupid stuff you have to deal with as well.
Right. Understood. Well, that's fantastic. I know the fans are just super excited to have you guys back, and the prospect of more new music is going to keep them on their toes, I believe, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun, and you know, I kind of look at it as we're a brand new band. We still have so much to prove. There's still millions of people who've never even heard of us.
Sure.
You know, so we've always been the underdog, and we love that role, and we work really hard. When we tour, we don't take days off unless we're traveling. You know, we don't sit in hotels and do all that nonsense. So, you know, we're just trying to make up for the 12 years off, and you know, everything's been so appreciated by the whole band.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. Best of luck with the album release coming up and the upcoming tour. And we'll be happy to see you back in the States as well.
Yes, we love playing everywhere, but I love playing the States, and you know, because I just had I have a kid, so I have a family, so being closer to home is always good. But you know, we're just going to tour our asses off. That's all we can do.
That's fantastic.